Hi guys, I'm Shmi, and today I want to give you 5 reasons why I love my Ferrari FF. It's a Marmite car. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people just don't understand why Ferrari even made it. But I've had the car now for about 3 or 4 months. I've done about 4,000 miles in it, so I've got to know it pretty well. I'm driving it all the time, as you can see. It hasn't actually been washed now for about 2 months or something, because I had it down in Monaco where the weather was always lovely, so that wasn't a problem. And then I brought it back to the UK just 2 weeks ago now and have been driving it pretty much every day since in some not so great weather. So the beautiful blue Le Mans paintwork is coated in a layer of dirt, but that's sort of what this car is about. It's the practical, everyday, daily drivable Ferrari. It's the FF, the Ferrari 4, the 4-seat, 4-wheel drive Ferrari with a hatchback boot and some everyday comfort. So I'm using it sort of how I think a car like this should be used. It doesn't matter that it's dirty. I'll get it cleaned up properly later on. Pop down to visit my friends at Topaz maybe, give it a full detail. I'll worry about that later. For now, I'm driving the car, enjoying the car, and using it all the time, so that is why it's looking a mess. But like I say, I've done 4,000 miles in the car. I've got to know it pretty well already. And there are some things about it I just really, really love. You know, I'm falling in love more and more with it all the time. Much more than I sort of expected I would, to be completely honest. So I'm very, very happy. So let's get started with these 5 things I love about my Ferrari FF. First thing I love, the engine. This is a V12 Ferrari, 660 brake horsepower, 6.3 litre, naturally aspirated V12. And I'm going to show you that engine because it is a complete beast. So if we just unlock the car, release the engine here. Slightly unusual being in the centre, not down there or anything like you would expect to find it in most cars. But the engine, the whole combination, the sound, how beautiful it looks. Lift up the ginormous front hood and you are greeted with that. It's a work of art. Truly beautiful cylinder layout down the middle. The Ferrari covers, the red touches. And I mean, you know how it sounds. It's really rather something. Let's close this up. Close it down. And I'm going to start the car up because along with the engine is the sound it makes. And the sound, well, you've probably heard it in some of my videos before now, is truly, truly glorious. So the key goes in here, and you bring her to life with this button on the steering wheel. It's just something to die for. Let's listen to some clips of the car on the mountain roads. The second thing I love then about the FF, the practicality. It's a Ferrari, it's not supposed to be practical. Well, normally. This car has been built for this purpose. It has the hatchback, and that's the controversial bit. That's the thing that makes people sort of look at it and question a little bit what they're looking at. But if we open this up, press the key here, and then lift up the boot, which is filthy, but you can get your fingers on a clean bit, we've got a boot. A Ferrari with a boot, and trust me, you can fit some pretty good amounts of stuff in here. I've had a 55-inch TV in the back, skis through the middle. It's got a through-load system whereby you can fold down this central section on the rear seats, push that all the way through. You can obviously fold down the side seats if you prefer. You can remove the parcel shelf, and then you've got this sort of vast boot. I've even got a suitcase, a car cover, some other stuff in here, and it's a Ferrari with a boot. It's practical. You've got the 4 seats, of course. You've got plenty of storage pockets and things on the inside, so you really can use it for just about everything. It's a fairly large car, so it's helped out by having some reversing cameras. I just close the boot down. We've got a reversing camera helping us look back here. And down at the front, we've also got a camera to help park so that you don't splat to the front onto any curbs or bumps. You can see the camera here just above the prancing horse. So that makes us safe from hitting the bonnet. So it's a big car, but it's a practical car because it's looking after you. And it's just easy to drive all the time. Come and have a quick look, you know, you've got plenty of seats back here for the rear footroom, no shortage. So I think that's probably something taking me more by surprise than I realised. I didn't sort of actually think that out in the real world the car would solve every purpose from a practicality point of view, so top marks there. The third thing I love is the luxuriousness of it. You don't necessarily think about that, but it's so nice in here. The materials, the fit and finish, the contrast between the creamer leather and the blue Scuro leather on the dashboard and around the steering wheel. Everything you touch is just really, really nice and good quality. The seat leather is brilliant. These grab handles down here in the central driving zone have a sort of nice sort of squishy feel to them, hard to describe, but just really, really nice. And everything's just proper. And you know, even these, the air vents, they're just a nice sort of finish. The steering wheel, of course, the thing you're holding, very, very beautiful, lovely finish with the carbon fibre and leather. It's just, I guess you don't necessarily expect the car to be so luxurious, and then when you come and sit in it, it really, really is. It's a proper sort of upmarket GT car. So that's sort of another surprise and another thing I just love about this car. My fourth thing that I love about the FF is driving it, the sporty direct drive. You're looking at what's basically a 5 metre long luxury car, and you're not necessarily thinking this car is going to be brilliant on tight twisty roads, but that's where it's so characterful, because when you've got it in sport mode, the suspension is firmed up, the steering really is so direct and pointy and sharp. It's just, I mean, that's a traditional trait of Ferraris, and this is no exception. So you've got that sort of character change where if you're pushing on, the car shrinks around you. It wraps around you in a way that you just feel like you're in something so much smaller than you actually are. But then if you're in town or just cruising around in the full automatic, gentle gearbox settings, well, it's just that. It's a gentle cruiser, a GT car. So it's got these completely different characters, but the one I love the most is how it drives, how a Ferrari should. You know, those traditional traits of the sharp steering. And that's really quite exciting and not necessarily something you're sort of thinking about, but Ferrari did remain true to everything a Ferrari should be with this car and the way they've made it drive. And then of course you've got the sort of four-wheel drive system. It's a very clever trick system that adapts the sort of throttle to the front wheels only at sort of low power and stuff, so it's still very fun to play around with. So they really have nailed it, and that's why my fourth reason is the sporty drive in this car. The fifth reason, and by no means the last reason, just the fifth one I'm going to talk about right now, if you haven't already guessed it, it involves this. Il Cavallino Rampante, the Ferrari badge. That is so cool. Come on, tell me who does not dream of owning a Ferrari. I know this was always on my list when I was a kid, you know, before we had McLaren. Obviously I'm a big McLaren man too, but I always dreamed of one day owning a car that would wear this badge proudly on the front. And I love this one here on the grille too. It's everything that comes with a Ferrari. Everybody knows it, everybody loves it. I mean, you guys out there, I think, were all pretty much taken by surprise when I revealed on my YouTube channel that I'd bought a Ferrari, well, this particular car, but it really is something, and it's lovely to be part of, you know, just heading down to the Finale Mondiale event in Italy at Mugello with all the other owners. It's a sort of members club you buy your entry to by buying the car, and I hope it's not going to be my last Ferrari, of course, as well. This is my first Ferrari. And that's, I think my title of my first video was collecting my first Ferrari. But yeah, the Ferrari badge, and dare I say it in a slightly sort of arrogant, douchebaggy way, having a Ferrari key. The old school, famous red Ferrari keys. You know, everybody knows what it is. People who don't even like cars know what a Ferrari is. And it's just everything that comes with being connected to the brand and being able to drive one. I sort of think in a way, it's slightly like it's a privilege to be able to drive a Ferrari, and that is certainly true, but it's a club I'm very happy that I'm now part of. So my fifth reason really is owning a Ferrari, which is just it's something really special. I'm sure those of you out there who have ever had the sort of opportunity to drive one, or maybe you own one, will be able to appreciate that. But yeah, it's a dream come true, driving a Ferrari. There we go then, 5 reasons why I love my Ferrari FF, some of which I knew beforehand, some of which I've learnt by owning and using and driving the car. It is of course now absolutely filthy, so I'm going to have to take it straight off and actually get it properly cleaned up. I'm going to be putting on some winter tyres, some Pirelli Sotto Zeros as well, so that when the bad weather comes, because so far we've had quite a warm winter here in the UK, I will equally be able to keep on using it. That's one of the beauties, you know, the weather can do whatever it wants. I'm going to still be able to drive this car and use it every single day. So we had the 5 reasons: the engine and sound, the practicality, the luxuriousness, we've got the Ferrari badge, and of course we've got the way it drives, the sporty, exciting drive from a car that you might not necessarily expect to be quite so fun on the roads. But you can probably watch just about anybody else's review and they'll tell you exactly the same thing. It really is a car that you start driving it and it just takes you by surprise. It's so much more characterful and exciting than you would probably give it credit for or expect it to be able to offer you. So I'm a very, very, very happy man. I love this car. I love the colour combination, the blue with the creamer, the two-tone wheels with the red calipers. The specification just had me sold from the minute I first saw it, as you know if you've watched some of my previous videos. But there we have it. 5 reasons why I love my Ferrari FF. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure you're subscribed to see more adventures with this car and other trips out and about, and I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers. This is so special. This is so special.